I stayed up after the. Obviously, I didn't want to see what they had to say about the Real Madrid game in it. But when I was listening to Arsenal fans after, when I heard how they were speaking, it was like they won the Champions League that day. Bro, I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, if they're like this already, if they win the Champions League, not to mention they've never won it before. Not to mention that Spurs might get knocked out of their Europa League, so it makes it extra fresh for them. It's like Spurs didn't win the Europa League and we've won. Oh my God, they're definitely going to be happier with all the Arteta out stuff. And if Arteta don't win the trophy this season, he should go from all the rival fans and all that. Oh my God! And then they can sit at the table, all them conversations that all these panel shows and us as well. When you're speaking to Arsenal fans, there's always a joke every show in it. Yeah, okay, Arsenal, sit down a minute. You can't talk to us. You don't have a Champions League, like what we used to do to Man City. But with Man City, when they won the Champions League, with all due respect, actually nobody cared. Like for rival, nobody actually cared when they won the Champions League. It was more like a relief for them. Like finally we've won it, so now we don't have to keep being told about you ain't won the Champions League. But guess what? Everyone done 115 charges. We don't care about your Champions League.
What it's gonna
Arsenal's
be. I think that's
different
what it's going to be
because they're seen as being one of the bigger clubs in the historically bigger as well. They're only third on the list, I think, in Premier League titles compared to what's in it. There's Man U, us, and then Arsenal. And then they've got no Champions Leagues. So now it's like they win it and all of a sudden Chelsea, they've got Champions Leagues, but now we've got one as well. Yeah, man, I can't, bruv. I'm not trying to see that still. Luckily, I don't live in London like you, man.
Real quick, I just typed in Grok. I said, which fan base would be happier, Liverpool's winning the Premier League or Arsenal winning the Champions League? This is Grok's AI answer, okay? So Liverpool fans would likely be happier winning the Premier League, obviously. Premier League is grueling season-long competition. Liverpool's last title was in 2020, ending a 30-year drought, blah, blah, blah. Fan base's emotional investment in domestic dominance, given the club's history and rivalry with Manchester United and others, makes a massive achievement. Arsenal fans would be thrilled with the Champions League title, their first ever, breaking a trophy drought since 2004. Which is false because they won FA Cup since then. Grok's just being fraudulent. However, Champions League, while prestigious, is a knockout competition with less consistent emotional investment over the season compared to the Premier League's relentless grind.
Hey, I don't know what the fuck it's talking about, bro.
No,
Liverpool's fan base, with its deep-rooted expectations of league success, would edge out Arsenal's euphoria for a one-off European triumph. That's what AI says.
That last comment is false anyway, because Liverpool are not used to winning the league, bro.
And just taking everything. And just taking it all into account, since you want to talk about this particular season, depending on what kind of Liverpool fan, depending if you've got PTSD and all that, or if you just didn't want to say anything, we've kind of been almost 90% sure we're going to win the league for months. So it's like, you can, like, even if you're excited, excitement will drop if you know something's won already, bro. Like you know that you're closer to. Whereas Arsenal is literally felt like it's come out of nowhere, bro. When they got the Real Madrid draw, most of the Arsenal fans were saying it's done. There's no chance, it's over with. And all the rival fans are saying Arsenal got no chance of winning the Champions League. But obviously, based on your hypothetical, they would have the Champions League. So, and I said it yesterday, it's the last game of the season. It's the last in memory of the footballing season, and it does matter, bro. Like when we were happier when we won the Champions League. We were happier than Man City fans that season. We had finished a point behind them, and then was like, "Oh no, I can't believe we didn't win the Prem. We're gonna go win the Champions League because we had Spurs." And then you saw what happened, bro.
Was that happier or more relieved that we actually walked away with something?
I think happier, bro. I think happier
because there's a sense of relief because you're like, "Right, we pushed them so well in the season, and then we could have ended up with nothing."
I wasn't relieved when we won the Champions League. I was happy because remember the season before we lost in the Champions League final. So it's like big up Dean.
What's going on, people? Cool.
Big up Dean, bro.
Good.
We're chopping up a few questions, man. Man, are moving like Arsenal fans at the moment.
Endz is being fraudulent.
I'm not being fraudulent, bro. I'm asking a simple question.
We've been very objective in our answers.
Speak to me. What's going on? Speak to me.
I'm just asking, at the end of the season, Arsenal win the Champions League, Liverpool won the Premier League. That's where we're starting off with. So that's two things that's happened. The questions around it I started off with was this one. Who had the most impressive season? So basing it off Arsenal winning the Champions League and Liverpool winning the Premier League.
You know what? I've got so much Arsenal fans around me. It's going to annoy me, bro, because that's all I'm hearing right now. I need them not to win it. I don't want this discussion. I need them not to win it because the masses are going to just swoop to Arsenal. I think our thing is crazy because it's a new manager. We came third last season. It's brilliant. Arsenal winning the Champions League for the first time. It's going to be the biggest thing in world football ever. If you listen to Arsenal fans that are going on, it's going to be the biggest thing ever to happen in world football. That's how it's going to be perceived, and it's going to eclipse anything we've done in our history. I'll tell you that now. I'm around Arsenal fans all the time, and the way they're talking is crazy. Like we ain't got 6 of them.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to win that. You're not. It's like, yes, we know what it's like, but that's what we say. Win the damn thing first, then you actually know what it feels like once you've beaten Real Madrid and you've gone the distance, bro. That feeling is like no other.
Yeah.
All right. The next question was, which trophy means more?
To me, the league all day for me. See me, bread and butter. Then we can do other stuff after that. See me, it's always bread and butter for me. That's just me. Everyone else can whatever, but I'm always want my home cool, and then we can go Europe. Like bread and butter, and then we go further, man. Yeah, man, that's my team.
And I think you kind of answered this one already, man. Which fan base will be the most happiest? You've kind of answered that earlier. It'll be Arsenal. Talking about. All right, last question then, lads, man. What does this mean for Arne Slot and Mikel Arteta? So imagine Arne Slot won the Premier League. Mikel Arteta has now won the Champions League. Where does this take these two managers? In your own opinions, where do you think that goes in terms of like maybe transfers, maybe for next season? Where do they stand in terms of, manager of the year? Because that will be up for contention as well. Who wins that? Stuff like that.
I don't think manager of the year will be bothered. Like what you do in the Champions League isn't concerned about what you do in the Premier League.
Yeah,
unless
but
you're like a European manager of the year, then yeah. But it's like I said, man. Liverpool at the moment, right now, as a fan base, we are in this situation right now. Some of us, not like I said, some people did, but the massive majority of people who didn't expect Liverpool to win the league, right? Mm-hmm. We're now at a situation where what the hell do we do next? Like, look at the way we're talking about transfers and players and reds. We're thinking, bruv, what do we like? Do we try and win it next year? Like, do we sign this guy to try and win it next year? Like, do we keep this guy? Like, where it's, I'll be honest, this is not what a team who wins Premier Leagues. This is not how they act at all in the slice. Never ever seen it in the history of the Premier League. Never, not once have I ever seen that. Even from teams who players are too old, I've still never seen it. This is crazy. Imagine winning the Premier League and there's so much doubt. There's so much like clouding. We're not even like, we can't even fully enjoy it because we're so concerned with what's happening next season. I'm not saying don't enjoy it, by the way, people. Go and enjoy it. But the reality is we just can't because we feel a way about players and manager and this, that, and the third. Arsenal, as I said before, they're already on this kind of trajectory. Yes, they finished. They've stayed still. They've stood still in finishing second this amount of times. But you look at their team and you say their team doesn't need nowhere near as much as Liverpool's team. No way. They've got all their big dogs at the team. No one's leaving. There's no Saka problem contract. There's no Gabriel, no Saliba, no Ødegaard, no Martin. Like, these guys are all tied down. They're all good. And all they're now thinking is, if I just add maybe like a player here, a player there, bang. Whereas we're talking like, yeah, we need this. We need a left back. We need a left winger. We need a striker. We might need a new midfielder. You know what? It'd be nice to get another centre back in. Come on, bro. Like, you look at the optics, as Nick said, and I'm like, bro, if I'm looking at Arsenal, I'm looking at them thinking, fucking hell, if they win the Champions League, like they might do exactly what we did, which is exactly the same position we were in, which was we don't need to add. Well, sorry, we need to add, but we don't need to add that many people.